News of Lieutenant Commander Liam Neely's dramatic escape from Vandal space took over the spectrum for several weeks. While people celebrated Lieutenant Commander Neely's safe return, it's important to remember that rarely do these stories have a happy ending. In nearly 3 centuries of conflict with the Vandal, history is filled with tragedy and loss. There is one tale, though, that continues to defy explanation over 30 years later. The mystifying story of Lieutenant Junior Grade Lawrence Keithley. Throughout Lawrence Keithley's life, flying wasn't something he'd ever dreamed of. It was simply something he did. Growing up in the woodlands of Teesal and Sassay, Lawrence's ultimate dream was to be an actor. Friends and family recounted that during the summer months when he wasn't in school, the young boy would stage increasingly complicated performances outside the family's farm. In the warm evenings, he often enlisted other kids from the nearby farms as actors. But although he was an enthusiastic performer, his family saw his potential in the cockpit. It was effortless, Jordan Keithley, Lawrence's older brother, recounted. Mum had him flying shipments to the market when he was 12. It didn't matter if it was one of our small haulers or a hull, the kid was surgical. The Keithley farm grew organic produce until 2905, when several years of harsh weather and a failing market nearly forced the family into bankruptcy. Lawrence, still undeterred in his desire to pursue the arts, signed up for the Navy after achieving equivalency, in an effort to subsidise further education. Unsurprisingly, the divisional officers at his forge quickly discovered their new recruit's aptitude for piloting and dutifully set out to test its limits. In every test they threw at him, Keithley managed to exceed expectations. This continued all through the flight academy until he graduated at the top of his class. On 2909-05-18 SET, Lawrence received his first assignment: report to the newly reformed 106th Squadron along the Vandal front, a post considered by many to be the most coveted theatre of operations in the Navy, and an assignment second only to the Marines or joining Squadron 42. Keithley settled quickly into his new role as a combat pilot, aiding and supporting his flight in a number of missions along the Vandal front. And according to the starmen and officers who served with him, Lawrence could always be depended on as a source of good humour. The 106th would suffer their second devastating loss in 4 years, on 29/11/02/01. Keithley and his flight were tasked with a dangerous reconnaissance mission into Caliban to chart any Vandal presence. Exact details on the operation are still classified, but High Command did confirm that during the operation, a Vandal element cut off the 106th from the jump point back to the fleet. Only 2 of the pilots were able to make it back. Keithley and the rest were lost, presumed dead. Despite several attempts to retrieve verification, most of the bodies weren't found. Posthumous medals were conferred and military funerals held in the wake of the attack. Though tragic, many had come to accept this type of outcome as a likely possibility for combat pilots serving on the Vandal front. Back on Sassay, the Keithley family mourned the loss of their son and brother as they tried to move on. "Yeah, it messed us all up," Jordan recalled in a 2914 interview. "I'd go by to check on them, and Mum would barely speak, while Dad just worked. I think it was the fact that he was just gone. If they had the chance to see him one more time, I think that would have not made it better, but given them that closure." It turns out that they would get their wish. On the morning of December 17th, 2914 SET, Lawrence's father, Javier, woke shortly after dawn to begin work in the fields. Harper, Lawrence's mother, had gone out to the harvester shed when she noticed something. A crate, constructed out of scraps of metal and composites, sat on the dirt path leading up to their house. While a morning frost covered the landscape as far as the eye could see, this crate was almost warm to the touch. She called Javier over. Upon closer inspection, they discovered something etched into the top of the crate. The jagged lines formed the words, "I remember home." The two apprehensively opened the crate. Inside, they found the body of their son, Lawrence, dressed in a ragged and burned flight suit. The Keithleys quickly called local authorities, who, in turn, notified the Navy. Within a day, representatives from a dozen government divisions descended on the Keithleys' farm. Medical examiners studied the body, and although he'd been declared dead for over 3 years, he hardly looked it. They determined that he had died no more than 2 months earlier, from exposure. In addition, Lawrence's remains bore scars from extensive wounds that had been treated with some kind of rudimentary but effective medicine. The Navy's official conclusion was that Keithley had somehow survived the battle back in 2911, theorising that his ship had gone down in system, but that he had lacked an effective means of communication, but that's the extent of their theory. To this day, the military does not have an official stance as to what happened to Lawrence Keithley after his ship was lost in the Caliban system. There are no known human inhabitants of the system. The civilian population either fled or was wiped out in the fall of Caliban nearly 30 years earlier. So how did Lawrence survive out there for 3 years? And the bigger questions: who delivered the body, and who scrawled the message on the coffin? For the record, the Empire has never figured out the answers to any of these questions. If they did, they remain a closely guarded secret. However, despite all the mystery surrounding Lawrence's death, one thing is for sure: the Keithleys were able to see their son one more time to say their final goodbyes.
Welcome to the Intergalactic Nord Expo, where there's only one vehicle here, the vehicle for better internet security, accessibility and privacy. I wish I could watch Netflix in Japan or Pyro or whatever. Boom! I can, and I'm so protected. It's not a concept. You can fly with nordvpn.com/BoredGamer today. And with NordVPN, you don't need any variants, but it is pay to win because you need to buy it or get a subscription and then you win. Use the links below to get massive discount. November is all about the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. We've partnered with the Star Citizen organisation Lunar Wolves for a massive giveaway. Commenting on any of my videos during the month gets you a chance to win one of 4 ships: a Zeus MR, an Ares Ion, a Drake Corsair, and even a Cutlass Black. All courtesy of those beautiful Lunar Wolves. But wait, there's more. Sign up to the Lunar Wolves recruitment page, link down below, for a chance to win an RSI Polaris with lifetime insurance. They're recruiting, you might be looking for an org. I'll chuck some further information and terms and conditions and stuff in the video description as well. Don't forget to click on the join button under my videos. That goes a long way to help support the channel. Thank you so much to you that have already done that. Zin and I play a load of games after work and stuff, and we want to chuck those up for people that have gone the extra mile to support us either on Patreon or via that join button. Just remember to like and subscribe as well. Comment, ask us some stuff. Thank you so much for everyone that supported the channel, whether it be for a day or for the last several years, a decade. Oh my God, we've been doing this for so long. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great November and Intergalactic Aerospace Expo.